Today on Pro Church Daily, we're talking about how to quickly accelerate growth at your church.
Well, hey there, and welcome to Pro Church Daily, the show where in 10 minutes or less you'll get a daily dose of tips and tactics to help your church share the message of Jesus while we navigate the biggest communication shift we've seen in the last 500 years. I'm your host, Alex Mills, joined as always by the boss man, it's Brady Shearer, and today we're talking about how to quickly accelerate growth at your church.
I think every one of our churches, Alex, wants to grow.
Of course.
And if we can grow fast, even better.
Why not?
In episodes 144 and 145 of Pro Church Daily, we set the new rules for measuring church growth. For too long, we've used attendance as the be-all and end-all, the one important metric for measuring our church growth and health. And we kind of flipped that on its head and said, no, if you want to measure church growth and health, you want to measure next steps, people taking action within your church. Attendance is just one small part of this holistic view of church growth and health. So when we understand that, the best way to accelerate church growth is to increase next steps. If we get more next steps this month than we did last month, that's church growth.
There you go.
And if we can get more next steps even faster, that's even faster church growth. That's how to accelerate it. So now that we've set the baseline for how to accomplish and how to quickly accelerate our church's growth, let's talk about how to accomplish that.
Okay.
One of the best things you can do and easiest things you can do is look for low-hanging fruit. The types of things that our churches overlook and don't consider that are right there in front of us, and we can just grab for the taking. And one of the things that I always recommend, if you want to increase the volume of next steps being taken at your church, is simply doing less. Offering less things will almost always translate to a boost in next steps. I know it's hard to believe, but we've seen this time and time again. Just doing less will lead to more next steps.
Which seems counterintuitive.
The lie is this, that more next steps requires more options. And that's what we do, right? We just need a better bulletin. Well, we need a church app. We need a better welcome desk. We need more announcements. We need another church app.
We do it all the time with small groups, you know? We want to see more of our church and give to small groups. Then we need women's small group. We need men's small group. We need teens. We need women's talking about health. We need men's talking about guns. We need this and that. And it's like, it doesn't work.
Yes, exactly. That's the lie, because the paradox is this. More next steps actually requires less options and, in turn, less work for your church. And if you're wondering or saying to yourself, there's no way that's true, let's talk about some data and real-life case studies that have proven this psychological principle to be, in fact, true time and time again. In 2000, this was a groundbreaking study in the world of retail and the psychology of choice. Psychologists Sheena Iyengar and Mark Lepper published a remarkable study. On one day, they had shoppers at an upscale food market see a display, and they had 24 varieties of gourmet jam. Who doesn't love jam?
Of course.
A nice sandwich? What's your favorite type of jam?
Oh, strawberry.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. Good, I'm glad you said that. So one day, they had shoppers see 24 different varieties of jam, lots of options. Those who sampled the spreads received a coupon for $1 off any jam. So you have one, you get a coupon.
Sweet.
Nice. Then they compared that to another day. Same store, same clientele. Shoppers saw a similar table, except this time, instead of 24 jam varieties, they only saw 6. Same thing. You sample, you get a coupon. Here's what was so interesting. The large display of 24, maybe not surprisingly, attracted more people.
Look at all that jam.
Look at all that jam. I want to sample this. Here's where things got really interesting, though. The smaller display of just 6 jams did not attract as many people as the display of 24 jams. But when it came time to purchase, when it came time to take action, when it came time for that next step, people who saw the large display were 1/10 as likely to buy as people who saw the small display.
Wow, that's crazy.
Analysis paralysis. So many options, I don't know how to choose. It's just easier not to choose. Because if I buy this strawberry jam and then later I think, if I had this other jam, now I've got buyer's remorse. I'm just not going to even chance it. Less options makes for more next steps.
Wow.
Here's another case study. Whirlpool sent 2 email campaigns. So here's a digital example of this. One email had multiple calls to action, multiple different opportunities to click and take a next step. The other email consolidated all of them, one next step only, one call to action in the email only. The email campaign with just one call to action saw 42% more clicks than the other one. 42%. And this is what I mean when I say low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, it's right there.
All you have to do is offer less, and maybe you see a 42% increase in next steps. So when we say quickly accelerate growth, when we use next steps as that holistic metric that matters the most, Consolidate, and suddenly you see a huge increase. It was there the whole time if you had just taken that action.
It's right there.
Here's another example. There's a reason people like Obama and Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs when he was alive wore the same outfit every single day. Very high-ranking people that have to make very world-changing decisions every single day, and they don't want to waste any of that decision-making power on trivial decisions. And this is an example of decision fatigue.
Right.
We only have so much power in a day to make decisions. And so the more decisions we make, the lesser quality of decisions we're likely to make later. That's why, at the end of the day, I'm much more likely to go into my kitchen and eat a giant bag of sour cream and onion rippled chips because it's 9 o'clock. I'm not doing that at 6 a.m.
Right.
I'm locked in at that time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to but as the day wears on, we make less and less quality decisions.
Yeah.
Similarly, this can also lead to analysis paralysis.
Of course.
So if at your church you're saying, hey, check the bulletin, download the app, visit the website, talk to Pastor Carl, call the church office, email the ministry leader, go to the church welcome desk.
All of those options just to sign up for small group.
And that's not uncommon in our churches because, again, we fall for this lie. More options leads to more next steps, but that's not the case. So how can you actually begin taking this principle of less, which will in turn lead to more next steps, which will accelerate church growth, and put it into action? Example number 1, less church announcements from stage every week. In episode 146 of Pro Church Daily, we talked about the 50% rule, a rule that you can implement at church to reduce the overall number of church announcements. I'd recommend 1 to 3 stage announcements each week. You think that's impossible? Watch that episode, listen to that episode, 146, and implement the 50% rule. Hey, who knows? It's like Whirlpool. When they reduce the number of calls to action, who knows what kind of increase you'll see of next
Could
steps.
be 42%.
When you do that. Who knows? Second option, ask for less information on your Connect cards.
It's a big one.
So this is just for new visitors. Like for example, here's an example. ImageScape saw a 120% increase on their form submissions when they condensed their form from 11 fields to 4. And that's a great example because 4 is about the exact number of fields we recommend on a Connect card, whereas 11 is probably the average of what churches.
Right.
If you just reduce that from 11 to 4, what would 120% more new visitor welcome cards returned mean for your church?
Yeah.
Just imagine that. Again, low-hanging fruit. It's right there. Another example of this, Neil Patel saw a 26% increase in conversion rates on his contact form simply by eliminating 1 field. He went from 4 to 3, 26% increase, just like that. Another example, another way that you can put this principle into action, use a single call to action for every single next step. So instead of getting chaotic with your communications, like we were talking about before, well, sometimes check the bulletin, sometimes talk to Pastor Carl, sometimes call the church, sometimes email the ministry leader, sometimes download the app, sometimes go to the website, sometimes go to the welcome desk. It is exhausting just listing out these options, much less actually using them, maintaining them, and the cost involved there.
Of course.
Just condense every single call to action to one thing. So we'll always say something like head to lifeabundant.info or the lifeabundant.info kiosk in the lobby. So you can do it on your phone, your desktop, your tablet, or go to the kiosk that runs the exact same site.
I was going to say the kiosk is just an iPad running the same site.
It's just so that, maybe you're a bit older and you don't feel like, I don't want to take up my phone. Okay, but we're still using the exact same software. And this is the central hub idea in action. If you consolidate every next step to a single destination, the increase in next steps that you're going to see, who knows? Like, again, it's hard to believe this is the case, but there are so many real-world case studies and empirical studies that have proven this to be the case, and we hear it with Nucleus users all the time. We built the world's first all-in-one central hub software that ever existed for churches. It's a new kind of church website builder called Nucleus, and this is what users tell us. They'll say, Adam said this, and he puts the words, or takes them right out of my mouth. He's like, I couldn't really believe it. But when we started using only one destination for every next step, signups went up 20%. Or Jason, it's hard to believe, but engagement's up 53% since switching to Nucleus, since consolidating every next step into one. And that goes right along the lines with that Whirlpool email. It goes right along the lines with that ImageScape form. Condense, consolidate, less options, more next steps. More next steps, more church growth.
There you go. You got it.
That'll do it for this episode of Pro Church Daily. You can head to nucleus.church to get a free trial. Try it out. See if it'll work for you. And if it makes sense for you, no credit card required. We'll see you on the inside of Nucleus, and we'll see you next time on Pro Church Daily. Hey, thanks for watching today's episode of Pro Church Daily. We'd love it if you subscribe to this channel. Join Pro Church Nation. It'd mean the world to us.
Hey, and just between me and you, I know you like this video. So why don't you tell us? Hit the like button.
Hit the like
button.